Welcome to the Montana Wizard Podcast. Today we'll be talking about the Montana Scam. But first, a message from our sponsor, Mountain Wizard. We are now selling 4th of July themed merch, or Montana American merch, where you can celebrate the Independence Day, 4th of July, in Montana style. Remember to shop at Mountain Wizard. So today we'll be talking about the Montana Scam, and it's more of a term that's been used amongst locals rather than people who are not from here. And this approximately started more around 2019 and stuff, when we started getting a huge influx of people from the TV Yellowstone, the amount of space that we had to kind of escape COVID at the time. And what that kind of entails is not something that more was caused by Montana, but more of an outcome caused by outside forces. And what that is I can't remember exactly what it was, but some guy from California moved up here, and there was about maybe $100,000 house, and he's like, "Oh, that's super cheap." So, he's like, "I better get this before someone else does." Offers like $800,000 for a little crap shack in the middle of nowhere, and then everyone realized, I can jack up the price on all these houses because a lot of people are wanting to move here and have a lot of money. And even currently, like right now, there isn't a lot of availability, and a lot of this is still trying to go down. And this is across majority of the state. I mean, there's a few small towns in the middle of nowhere that aren't close to any major cities, where a lot of these people more find comfort in amenities rather than the Montana lifestyle, where they have to be living near a Costco or a Sam's Club, or else they're not going to be able to live. And a lot of us from here are actually used to that. And it's kind of an interesting subject. I mean, yes, you do need food and stuff, and it is very convenient to drive maybe 15 minutes to go to a Costco or a Sam's Club, or even just a grocery store in general, just to get food. But yeah, the Montana Scam is still affecting quite a lot of people around here, especially even the locals, where a house that is probably roughly maybe $100,000 is selling still for like $400,000 to $800,000, and it's starting to come down a little bit. Mainly due to the fact where now we're kind of in the turmoil of people who realized they were scammed, and now they're trying to sell the house for what they got it at. I mean, I was looking at a house the other day, and it's still like $400,000 for an off-grid house, which it's a little bit difficult to buy that has solar panels, but you still need to have power, and like the plumbing wasn't done, and it was kind of more of a studio place selling for like, what I say, $300,000, $400,000. And we're like, yeah, that requires way too much work to build, and that's closer to maybe even less than $100,000. We were looking at the price history, and the current owners bought it at like $600,000, which was amazing that you would even buy that for that much. But yeah, this is kind of more the reflection of the Montana Scam that I was talking about, and a lot of people have started calling it this, just because there's now an influx of this kind of happening, where a whole bunch of people are now taking losses on the houses they bought for like close to $1 million that were worth more of $100,000. And you're seeing a lot of this in like the Kalispell area. Even just driving through there was so many houses just for sale and stuff, and you can tell they're not local people, but a lot of the local people got driven out just because of the prices and stuff. I mean, now what's becoming more of the issue is there's a lot of families who, we have these communities where everyone moves back to the communities, or every so often, and kids can't come back to the community they grew up in, regardless if there's available jobs or whatnot. And it's interesting to even be that, and it's kind of hard for a lot of people. Yes, you want to have opportunity. Yes, you want to move away, but it's sometimes good to be near your community that you grew up with, that supported you growing up. I mean, I'm a 7th generation Montana, so I have a lot of history in my hometowns. I mean, now I'm kind of more living in the Columbus area, where I don't quite have as much history, but I still end up finding history of myself and my family, regardless of if it was like my parents, grandparents, great grandparents, etc., stuff like that. I mean, my family's been around in the state a lot, and so has my wife's. So, what I started calling it is like small town royalty, and that's when you family has lived in the town for so long, and now you're basically royalty because everyone knows you, everyone from the surrounding area knows you, and there's even the chance anyone from across the state knows who you are. I mean, it's part of the Montana lifestyle where you recognize everyone, you know everyone, everyone knows everyone. And now we're kind of getting to the point on where we had so too much of a boom of people now that you're kind of like, who the heck are these people? And if they don't know you, they're not from here. Speaking of which, there's been always these generations of people. Like first there was more what my family kind of moved in as was the pioneer generation of those who moved westward to discover and their purpose and start something. Then there was, I'm trying to think, in Montana there was the military project. I'm trying to figure out what it's called. It's like M1, where the government put in all the missile silos and stuff, and all those families moved over to Montana and kind of stayed put. The one more specific in the Fairfield area is the dam boom, where Gibson Dam was being built by, I think it was sponsored by the government or funded at least, and all those families moved in. Now we're in the era of the COVID families and stuff, where people moved here just for COVID, and that was about it. And I guess there's some areas where I guess in Yellowstone or near Bozeman, you get the Yellowstone junkies that moved here thinking, yeah, it's the Wild West. We get to go shoot up Indians and whatnot. It's like, no, we're in Montana. No one does that, and we're more likely to shoot up a bad neighbor, kind of like those people that we're bringing in because of that. But it's interesting to see all these random generations and stuff go in, and other areas have different booms and stuff. Billings has always had its business boom because that's kind of been the major trade capital. Butte had its, was it copper boom, where people moved there to mine copper. But yeah, there's a lot of those. Yeah, Bozeman's is a little bit funny because if you pay attention to the interstate signs going through, it says going to Butte, going to Billings. There's no in between until you get close, which means Bozeman's never ever been recognized as a major city until more recently. We'll see if that changes at all, but that would be up to the state to decide on if they want to be dedicated as a major city or not. But yeah, that's all I have more talking about today is the Montana scam, and it kind of relates more to me just because looking for a house to buy, it's a little bit difficult for starting people or those who just graduated college and are trying to figure out their life, which is a very interesting topic. So don't forget to buy your 4th of July Montana American merch from Mountain Wizard. You may have seen their ads recently, but you get a cool design. Added the 250th logo on the side and the Montana American. And if there's any custom orders that are needed, feel free to reach out, either cell phone, the chat box, or email, and see if they want to make anything for you. So, all right, thanks.